Hello and welcome to the Luscious Living Podcast. I'm your host, Celine Vilgan, holistic nutrition consultant and the founder of Luscious Living, where personal growth meets wellness. Hello, and welcome to the Luscious Living Podcast. Today I'm going to talk to you all about seed cycling. What the heck is seed cycling? Maybe some of you have heard of this method, maybe you haven't, but either way, we are going to get into what it is, how to do it, and does it actually work? So let's get right into it. Seed cycling is a method of consuming different kinds of seeds, pumpkin seeds, flax seeds, etc., during certain times of your cycle to support better hormone health and function, okay? So I want to talk to you about your four main hormones inside of this. So you've probably heard of estrogen, and males and females both have it, but of course it is primary for females, and it helps to develop the reproductive system and our characteristics like breasts and pubic hair and hips, okay? Also makes your skin soft. And estrogen is one of those things that we really do require in balance. And those, if you experience any sort of PMS symptom, which I talk a lot about in my other content and in my upcoming book, if you have too much of it, you're going to have PMS symptoms, okay? Next is progesterone. Progesterone prepares the endometrium for the potential pregnancy after ovulation, and it triggers the lining to thicken to accept a fertilized egg. And so if you have progesterone challenges, which we will be diving into a little bit here, you would be spotting in between periods, you would be having a very short cycles as well, so you would have less than 21 days in between your first menstruation and your last menstruation, okay? Next, you might have remembered these two from biology in high school, and really, to be honest, this is really the only thing I remember from high school and paid attention to was biology class, funny enough. So follicle-stimulating hormone, it helps to control the menstrual cycle and stimulates the growth of eggs in the ovaries. And again, I just want to preface, why I'm telling you this is basic information that I want you to know. This is not exclusive to a doctor or a nurse or whoever. This is just what's going on in your body, and I really just want you to know in a few sentences what some of these important hormones are. Next is luteinizing hormone. It is the hormone required to stimulate your follicles in the ovaries to produce oestradiol. And around day 14 of your cycle, a surge in this hormone causes the ovarian follicle to tear and release and mature into an oocyte from the ovary. And this is what we call ovulation. For the remainder of the cycle, so week 3 to 4, the remnants of the ovarian follicle forms a corpus luteum. And luteinizing hormone stimulates the corpus luteum to produce progesterone, which is required to support the early stages of pregnancy if fertilization occurs. And if, of course, it doesn't, you get your menstrual cycle. And that's really it. That's your 4 hormones that we will really be mentioning in the seed cycling. And so just a note about luteinizing hormone is if your levels are too high, it's often connected to PCOS, which creates excess testosterone levels. And I will link to 6 ways to support PCOS from a prior episode. All right, so let's get into why seed cycling. So it's really essentially in 2 words, balancing hormones. You would do to balance hormones, so you might have really strong PMS symptoms or perimenopause symptoms. You might use it to stimulate your menstruation if you don't have it. You might use it to increase fertility and also support the body if you have cysts, if you have PCOS, if you have endometriosis. So a lot of the women I work with have not maybe one person have all these conditions, but women come to me with these kinds of conditions. And so it's a really natural and inexpensive way to support your body. And this really goes to the notion of using food as medicine and medicine as food. Okay, so there's no reason not to try it, because we're going to go into, is it proven? Does it actually work? And at the end of the day, it is using food as medicine, and I'm going to share with you why certain kinds of seeds during certain kinds of time, okay? So, what seeds do you use for seed cycling? There's 4: pumpkin seeds, flax seeds, sesame seeds, and sunflower seeds. Oh, I just love them all, especially sunflower. All right, so how does it work? Let's just jump right into it. So, just a quick note is that depending on the severity of your symptoms, depending on the imbalance that you might have, it might take a few cycles to actually start to see results. And, I say that women are so strong, yet our hormone cycles are very delicate. And this is why I'm not a huge proponent of doing high intensity exercise and raw foods and cold foods all month long, okay? And I really talk about this in my book, which I will link to you to really be one of the first to know when it's released. I have the launch date already, which I'm very excited about. Haven't really talked about it yet, but if you're listening to this, you are one of the first to know. All right, and just also another really important note is if you have hormone imbalance, you're on the journey, if you want support, reach out to me because I wish that I had the support that I give when I was going through my hormone imbalance. I was having my cycle 4 times, like bleeding 4 times in a month. And if it wasn't that, I was getting it twice a month, minimum. Okay. And then I went to the gynecologist and all they said was birth control, or we're going to have to do some big tests on your uterus, see what's going on. And I, through my education and through my own experience, discovered I was just high in estrogen, very, very low in progesterone, very high in cortisol, okay? And now I have a beautiful cycle where I'm telling you, I don't even get cramps. I don't get bloating. I don't get acne. I might get 1 pimple, okay? And that's all going to be talked about in my upcoming book. So, how to seed cycle. I'm going to talk about the different phases and which kinds of seeds to use when. So, the first phase. So, this is about the 14 days, okay? So, this is your menstrual and your follicular phase. And I talk about all the different phases in my book again. I'm just going to keep referring to it. So, in this phase, our estrogen is at our lowest point. It's obviously, especially in our menstrual phase. And so, as we get into our follicular phase, estrogen slowly starts to climb. And then we start to prepare for ovulations, which is right in the middle, and potential pregnancy. Okay. And so as our estrogen levels rise, it also increases luteinizing hormones. And if we have decreased levels of estrogen, it also releases follicle stimulating hormone. Okay, so there's a very fine line between too much and too little estrogen. And guess what? I'm going to talk about the book, talk about estrogen dominance in there as well. Why do we have excess estrogen? What to do about it to clear it? Because it's all related to lifestyle and nutrition. Okay, so if we keep estrogen levels balanced, then luteinizing hormones and follicle stimulating hormone will also follow. So what we can do is cycling with seeds that contain phytoestrogens to help with that. Phytoestrogens are plant-based sources of estrogen that adapt to the body's estrogen levels. Pretty amazing. So they increase estrogen levels where needed, yet they also can decrease excess estrogen in the body. Aren't plants amazing? This is thanks to the ligands they contain, which bind to estrogen receptors and help to modulate estrogen production. Along with phytoestrogens, the seeds that are high in omega-3s are also beneficial because omega-3s reduce inflammation in the body, they regulate follicle-stimulating hormone levels, and support reproductive membrane function, okay? So I highly recommend eating oily fish a few times a week, and I also personally supplement with fish oil. And if you want to get the best brand of fish oil, and my clients always get 10% or more off of the best brands out there, send me a message. Okay, so fish oil supplementation during the follicular phase, so right after your menstrual cycle, can also be a beautiful addition because it's anti-inflammatory and another great source of omega-3s. So what I want you to do, So what I want you to do is in this phase, eat flax seeds and pumpkin seeds. And again, why flax seeds is because it is high in ligands to block excess estrogen production. Again, excess estrogen is why you're getting those very awful PMS cramps and breast tenderness, things like this, mood swings, weepiness, all of that. It's also high in omega-3s for inflammation. And pumpkin seeds, because it's rich in zinc, which prepares the body for progesterone secretion in the next phase. Again, also high in omega-3s. And then I want you to also supplement with fish oil, which contain EPA and DHA, which are important omega-3 fatty acids only found in cold water fish. Okay? Next is your luteal phase. This is right before your menstrual phase. And this should last at least 10 days, okay? And any less is a clear indicator of low progesterone and possible fertility issues. So progesterone, as we talked about, is responsible for enhancing the endometrium, so your uterine lining, and facilitating egg implantation. Reaching adequate levels of progesterone requires this time frame. And so if you are stressed chronically, it decreases this phase. So if you're getting spotting, if your cycles are short, this is what was happening to me. I was getting my cycle, I'm telling you, 4 times in a month. And then for a year straight, I had my cycle twice a month. Okay? And so the luteal phase is characterized by the drop in estrogen, drop in FSH and LH, which happens right after ovulation, which is only like 1 to 3 days. Okay? And this is when your progesterone level should rise steadily. What's actually nice about progesterone is also is really good for anti-anxiety, okay? And so this goes hand in hand. It's almost like a vicious cycle. If you're stressed, you're going to have lower progesterone. And if you are, you're also going to be even more stressed if you have low progesterone. And actually, I want to explain to you super quickly on why the stress impacts it is because of a phenomenon called progesterone steal. What happens is your body is more interested in you surviving than you reproducing. And so the same hormone required to build progesterone actually goes to cortisol, your stress hormone. So it's finite resources and it goes to building cortisol instead of progesterone. Okay? All right. That was just a little side note there. So estrogen also increases during your luteal phase, but if it's too high, again, like I said, it's responsible for PMS symptoms and a very difficult menstrual cycle. So progesterone and estrogen are like a seesaw, and they keep each other in check. So making sure you have healthy progesterone is vital for reproductive health. So if you're experiencing any infertility, this is going to be big news for you, okay? So in this phase, we want you to focus on omega-6, which convert to gamma-linolenic acid, GLA, in the body, supporting progesterone levels and reducing inflammation in the body. So what I love is evening primrose oil for this, okay? It's going to be really, really helpful in reducing PMS pain, in balancing your cycle, boosting fertility, and you're going to have glowing skin as a result, okay? Huge win. I personally supplement with evening primrose oil. Okay, so in this phase, I want you to have sesame seeds. They're high in ligands to modulate estrogen and progesterone levels, high in omega-6, which converts to GLA in the body. And I also want you to have sunflower seeds, high in selenium, which supports liver function. Okay, you actually need your liver to conjugate excess estrogen, as in just eliminate excess estrogen and you have proper hormone excretion. Also high in omega-6. And again, I want you to supplement with evening primrose oil if you really suffer from imbalanced progesterone. Okay? So if you have infertility, spotting in between your cycle, things like this. And that's really it. So again, I just want to recap. It's going up to my notes again here. So in your follicular phase, this is an even really menstrual phase, have more flax seeds and pumpkin seeds. In your luteal phase, I want you to have more sesame seeds and sunflower seeds. In the first phase, again, regular old fish oil, omega-3s, and in the second phase, evening primrose oil. Now, a few things to remember when it comes to your seeds. I want you to get the highest quality whenever possible. So use them, buy them unroasted, unsalted, unseasoned. This is raw. This is not like, the spits either. It's better than nothing, but I want you to get it in ideally the refrigerated section, ideally just raw, okay? No salt added to it. And that way it has their full medicinal properties, okay? And then make sure that you keep your seeds in a cool, dark place because they can oxidize when they're left in the sunlight and in warmer temperatures. So I personally store mine in the fridge. This is something that I learned actually. So seeds begin to oxidize 15 minutes after they're ground. So grinding fresh is best. I know it's not always available, so you might need to just put them in the freezer. And beautifully enough, you don't have to just eat them like through a spoon, the seeds. You can try them in a smoothie, salad, soups, etc. And I'm going to show you ways to use them, okay? So 10 ways to actually seed cycle. You can add it to your coconut yogurt. You can add it to your nut butter. You can blend it into a smoothie or a smoothie bowl. You can add it to a salad, add it to your overnight oats, add it to your avocado toast, add it to roasted sweet potatoes, sprinkle on top of hummus, make protein balls, which you will get a recipe for, or energy bites or whatever you want to call them. You can add it to cookies. And then you can make it into a chia seed pudding or parfait, okay? So I also have a seed cycling super mix for you when you opt into the giveaway that I have, okay? So make sure that you have that. I'm going to include what I've talked about in a summary. I'm going to give you a super mix where I add other ingredients that you can add. I'm going to show you some other ways, other recipes that you can include this mix into, and your hormones are going to love it, okay? So if you have any questions, please reach out to me. I'm at _lusciousliving_ on Instagram. Be sure to sign up for my newsletter. I will link for you how to work with me, sign up for my book launch, sign up to, to sign up for the free seed cycling toolkit I'm going to give you, okay? So I know you are going to love it. Please share this with someone that you love that will help. And really, I'm on a mission to empower women to balance their hormones and really be the master of their own bodies and not have to go on birth control necessarily to fix their hormones. Okay, so join me. I am so grateful that you tuned in. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I can't wait to see you again. Have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please give the show a 5-star review if you feel like you learned something new today. All of the mentioned links will be in the show notes. And also, are we connected on Instagram? Find me over at _lusciousliving_ and come say hi. See you next episode.